Stop. Right now, stop what you're doing and ask yourself this question. Do you really want success? I know what you're thinking. Of course I want success, that's why I'm here watching this video. But hold on. Let me ask you again, and this time I want you to really think about it. Do you really want success? Because if you do, then why are you still where you are? Why haven't you achieved what you say you want? Why do you keep making the same excuses, following the same patterns, and expecting different results? Albert Einstein once said, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." So if you're still struggling, still broke, still unfulfilled, then maybe, just maybe, you don't really want success as much as you think you do. Let me tell you something that's going to hurt. Most people don't actually want success. They want the idea of success. They want the fantasy, the dream, the Instagram post, the lifestyle. But they don't want the work, the sacrifice, the pain, the failure, and the relentless pursuit that success actually requires. They want the $1 million bank account, but they don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. every day for years. They want the respect and recognition, but they don't want to face the criticism and rejection that comes with putting yourself out there. They want the freedom that money brings, but they don't want to give up their comfort zone. Henry Ford said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." But I'll take it further. Whether you want success or you just want to want success, you're right too. And most people fall into that second category. You see, wanting success is easy. It costs nothing. It requires no commitment, no sacrifice, no change. You can want success while lying on your couch, scrolling through social media, complaining about your boss, and living the exact same life you've always lived. But actually pursuing success, that's different. That's terrifying. That's why most people prefer to stay in the wanting phase forever. Here's where most people get it wrong. They think success is about getting lucky, being in the right place at the right time, or having some special talent that others don't have. They think successful people are different from them, smarter, more connected, more privileged. This is a lie you tell yourself to stay comfortable in your mediocrity. Let me share something from Napoleon Hill's masterpiece, Think and Grow Rich. Hill spent 25 years studying over 500 millionaires and billionaires. You know what he found? Success isn't about luck, talent, or privilege. It's about mindset, persistence, and definite purpose. Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's the key word, believe, not hope, not wish, not dream. Believe. Most people say they want success, but they don't believe they can achieve it. They don't believe they deserve it. They don't believe they have what it takes, and because they don't believe, they don't act with the intensity and commitment that success requires. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, started with nothing. He wasn't born into wealth. He didn't have connections. What he had was an unshakable belief in his ability to understand and invest in businesses. He said, "Risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. The risk isn't in pursuing success. The risk is in not pursuing it. The risk is in staying where you are, living a life of mediocrity and dying with your dreams still inside you." Now let's talk about what success actually costs. Because everything has a price and most people aren't willing to pay it. Success costs you your comfort zone. It costs you your excuses. It costs you your victim mentality. It costs you your need to be liked by everyone. It costs you your fear of failure. It costs you your need for immediate gratification. In The Millionaire Mind by Thomas Stanley, he studied thousands of millionaires and found that they share certain characteristics. They live below their means. They allocate their time efficiently. They believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. They choose the right occupation and become self-employed. But here's what's interesting. Most of these millionaires didn't start with advantages. They started with discipline, sacrifice, and a willingness to do what others wouldn't do. Steve Jobs said, I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. Notice he didn't say talent or luck or connections. He said perseverance. Are you willing to persevere when everything seems to be going wrong? Are you willing to keep going when you failed for the 10th time? Are you willing to work on your goals when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when everyone around you thinks you're crazy? Because that's what success costs. It costs you everything you are to become everything you can be. Most people are trapped in mediocrity and they don't even realize it. They're comfortable being average. They've accepted a life of good enough. Jim Collins, in his book Good to Great, talks about how good is the enemy of great. Most people settle for good because it's easier, safer, more comfortable. But greatness requires you to leave good behind. The mediocrity trap is seductive because it offers immediate comfort. You can have a decent job, a decent house, decent relationships, and a decent life. There's nothing wrong with decent except that it's not great. And if you're capable of great, then settling for decent is a tragedy. Michelangelo said, "The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark." How many people do you know who are living below their potential? How many people are capable of so much more but have settled for so much less? How many people have dreams they've given up on because they're comfortable in their mediocrity? And here's the scary question, are you one of them? Let me tell you about the difference between successful people and everyone else. It's not intelligence, it's not resources, it's not luck, it's mindset. Successful people think differently. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. They see possibilities where others see problems. They see solutions where others see excuses. Carol Dweck, in her book Mindset, talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are static. They think they're either good at something or they're not. People with a growth mindset believe their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. Guess which mindset successful people have? Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater Associates, one of the world's largest hedge funds, says, "He who lives by the sword dies by the sword, and he who lives by C plus work dies by C plus work." Success requires A plus thinking, A plus effort, and A plus commitment. But here's what most people don't understand. You don't need to be born with an A plus mindset. You can develop it. You can train your mind to think like a successful person. You can condition yourself to see opportunities instead of obstacles. How? By changing your internal dialogue, by asking better questions, by surrounding yourself with people who think bigger than you do, by reading books that challenge your thinking, by taking action even when you're afraid. The mind is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The more you think like a successful person, the more you become one. Let's talk about money, because that's what most people think success is about. And you know what? Money is important. Anyone who says it isn't is probably broke. But money isn't the root of all evil. The love of money is. Money is a tool. It's a means to an end, not the end itself. Successful people understand this. They don't pursue money for money's sake. They pursue money for what it can do, the freedom it provides, the opportunities it creates, the problems it solves. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the difference between assets and liabilities. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Rich people buy assets. Poor people buy liabilities and think they're assets. Most people work for money. Rich people make money work for them. Most people think about money in terms of spending. Rich people think about money in terms of investing. T. Harv Eker, in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, says, "Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. This is the fundamental difference. Rich people take responsibility for their financial situation. Poor people blame everything and everyone else. You want to know how to make real money? Here's the formula. Provide value to others. The more value you provide, the more money you make. It's that simple. Jeff Bezos didn't become the richest man in the world by accident. He created Amazon because he saw an opportunity to provide value to millions of people. He made their lives easier, more convenient, more efficient, and in return, they made him rich. This is the most important concept you need to understand about success and money. You are paid in direct proportion to the value you provide. If you're not making enough money, you're not providing enough value. If you want to make more money, you need to provide more value. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. It's about solving bigger problems for more people. Gary Vaynerchuk built a multi-million-dollar business by providing value first. He spent years creating content, helping people, and building relationships before he ever asked for anything in return. He understood that the best way to get what you want is to help others get what they want. Dale Carnegie wrote in How to Win Friends and Influence People. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. The same principle applies to money and success. You can make more money in 2 months by focusing on how you can help others than you can in 2 years by focusing on how others can help you. But here's the catch. Most people have it backwards. They want to get before they give. They want to receive before they provide. They want success before they earn it. Successful people understand that you have to give first. You have to provide value first. You have to help others succeed first. And then, and only then, will success come to you. Let me destroy another myth that keeps people from success. The fear of failure. Most people are terrified of failure. They avoid taking risks because they might fail. They stick with what's safe, what's comfortable, what's familiar, but here's what they don't understand. Failure isn't the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. He said, "I have missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I have lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." Steve Jobs was fired from Apple, the company he co-founded. He said it was the best thing that could have happened to him because it freed him to enter one of the most creative periods of his life. Every successful person has failed. The difference is that they didn't let failure stop them. They learned from it, they grew from it, they used it as fuel to come back stronger. Failure is not your enemy. Fear of failure is your enemy. Failure is feedback. It tells you what doesn't work so you can find what does work. Success isn't about motivation. Motivation is temporary. Motivation comes and goes. Success is about discipline. Discipline is permanent. Discipline is what you do when you don't feel like doing it. In The Compound Effect, Darren Hardy explains how small, consistent actions compound over time to create extraordinary results. But it requires discipline to take those small actions every day, especially when you don't see immediate results. Most people want instant gratification. They want to see results immediately. When they don't, they quit. They give up. They move on to the next shiny object, the next get-rich-quick scheme, the next magic bullet. But success doesn't work that way. Success is built one day at a time, one action at a time, one decision at a time. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram-worthy. It's just disciplined, consistent action over time. Kobe Bryant had what he called the Mamba mentality. He said, "I can't relate to lazy people. We don't speak the same language. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. That's the level of discipline success requires. It requires you to do what others won't do. It requires you to work when others are sleeping. It requires you to study when others are partying. It requires you to invest when others are spending. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't just a cute saying. It's a scientific fact. Your environment shapes your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions, and ultimately, your results. If you're surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, and blame others for their problems, you'll start to think and act the same way. If you're surrounded by people who take responsibility, work hard, and pursue their goals, you'll be influenced by their mindset and behaviors. Jim Rohn said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." But he also said, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. You have the power to change your environment. You have the power to choose who you spend time with. You have the power to remove negative influences from your life and add positive ones. This might mean losing some friends. It might mean changing your social circle. It might mean spending less time with family members who drag you down. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Successful people understand that their environment is everything. They carefully curate their relationships, their influences, their inputs. They understand that you can't soar with eagles if you're scratching with turkeys. In today's world, what got you here won't get you there. The half-life of skills is decreasing rapidly. What you knew 5 years ago might be obsolete today. What you know today might be obsolete in 5 years. The most successful people are lifelong learners. They're constantly reading, studying, growing, evolving. They understand that learning isn't something you do in school. Learning is something you do for life. Bill Gates reads 50 books a year. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. Oprah Winfrey says reading is her personal path to freedom. These people didn't become successful and then start reading. They started reading and then became successful. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner, said, "In my whole life, I have known no wise people who didn't read all the time. None. Zero." But here's the key. You have to read the right books. You have to learn from people who have achieved what you want to achieve. You have to study success, not just hope for it. Reading fiction might entertain you, but reading biographies of successful people will educate you. Reading gossip magazines might distract you, but reading business books will develop you. Reading social media might inform you, but reading classic literature will inspire you. Knowledge without action is useless. You can read every book, attend every seminar, watch every video, but if you don't take action, nothing changes. You remain exactly where you are. Tony Robbins says the path to success is to take massive, determined action. Not small action, not occasional action, not convenient action. Massive, determined action. Most people suffer from what I call perpetual preparation syndrome. They're always getting ready to get ready. They're always planning to plan. They're always thinking about thinking. But they never actually do anything. They say they're waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the right conditions. But here's the truth. There is no right time. There is only now. The right time is when you decide to start. The right opportunity is the one in front of you. The right conditions are the ones you create. Mel Robbins in the 5-second rule talks about how you have to act within 5 seconds of having an idea or your brain will kill it. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not to make you successful. Safety and success are often opposites. Every successful person has had to overcome their brain's natural tendency to avoid risk, to stay comfortable, to maintain the status quo. They've had to develop the ability to act in spite of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Calvin Coolidge said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. This is one of the most powerful quotes about success ever written. It destroys every excuse you might have for not succeeding. You don't need talent, you don't need genius, you don't need education, you need persistence. You need the ability to keep going when everyone else quits. You need the determination to continue when the going gets tough. In Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000-hour rule. He says it takes about 10,000 hours of practice to achieve mastery in any field. That's about 10 years of deliberate practice. Most people quit after 10 hours, not 10,000. They give up at the first sign of difficulty, the first obstacle, the first setback. They expect success to be easy, quick, and painless. When it's not, they quit. But successful people understand that the obstacle is the way. They understand that every setback is a setup for a comeback. They understand that persistence is the key that unlocks every door. Right now, you're at a decision point. You can continue living the way you've been living, or you can make a change. You can continue making excuses, or you can start making progress. You can continue wanting success, or you can start pursuing it. But you can't do both. You can't stay where you are and go where you want to be. You can't keep doing what you've been doing and expect different results. You have to choose. The choice is yours. But understand this. Not choosing is also a choice. Staying where you are is a choice. Accepting mediocrity is a choice. Living with regret is a choice. Every successful person has faced this same decision point. They've all had to choose between comfort and growth, between safety and success, between the known and the unknown. What separates successful people from everyone else isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's the decision to pursue success regardless of the obstacles, regardless of the odds, regardless of what other people think. Before we go any further, we need to define what success actually means. Because most people are chasing a definition of success that was created by someone else, for someone else's life. Success isn't about having more money than you can spend. It's about having enough money to live the life you want to live. Success isn't about being famous. It's about being significant. Success isn't about having everything. It's about being grateful for what you have while working toward what you want. Maya Angelou said, "Success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it." That's a beautiful definition, but it's incomplete. Success is also about growth, contribution, and impact. Earl Nightingale defined success as the progressive realization of a worthy goal. I love this definition because it focuses on progress, not perfection. It's about moving towards something meaningful, not reaching some arbitrary finish line. Success is deeply personal. It's about becoming the person you were meant to be, not the person others expect you to be. It's about living according to your values, not society's values. It's about creating a life that's meaningful to you, not impressive to others. But here's what success isn't. Success isn't about stepping on others to get ahead. It's not about winning at all costs. It's not about sacrificing your integrity for profit. It's not about being ruthless, selfish, or unethical. True success is about creating value, not just capturing it. It's about lifting others up, not putting them down. It's about leaving the world better than you found it, not just taking from it. One of the biggest lies in our culture is the myth of overnight success. We see someone's moment of triumph and think it happened suddenly, magically, without effort or sacrifice. But there are no overnight successes. There are only people who worked in the dark for years before anyone noticed. There are only people who failed privately before they succeeded publicly. There are only people who invested in themselves for decades before they saw returns. Bamboo grows underground for years before it breaks through the surface. Once it breaks through, it can grow 90 feet in just 60 days. But that rapid growth isn't the result of those 60 days. It's the result of all the years of invisible growth that came before. Your success is the same way. You might not see results immediately. You might not see progress for months or even years. But if you keep working, keep growing, keep improving, eventually you'll break through. And when you do, everyone will call it an overnight success. James Dyson created 5,126 prototypes before he got his vacuum cleaner right. That's not overnight success. That's persistence, determination, and an unwillingness to quit. Colonel Sanders was rejected by 1,009 restaurants before someone finally said yes to his chicken recipe. He was 65 years old when he started KFC. That's not overnight success. That's never giving up on your dreams, no matter how old you are or how many times you've been rejected. Albert Einstein supposedly said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Whether he actually said it or not, the principle is true. Small actions compounded over time create extraordinary results. If you save $1 a day for 40 years at 10% interest, you'll have over $220,000. That's the power of compound interest. But the same principle applies to every area of your life. If you read 10 pages a day, you'll read 3,650 pages a year. That's about 12 books. In 10 years, you'll have read 120 books. That's more than most people read in a lifetime. If you exercise for 30 minutes a day, you'll exercise for 182.5 hours a year. In 10 years, you'll have exercised for 1,825 hours. That's enough to transform your body completely. If you work on your business for 1 hour a day, you'll work 365 hours a year. In 10 years, you'll have worked 3,650 hours. That's enough to build a successful business. The key is consistency. Small actions taken consistently over time compound into massive results. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the process. You have to keep going even when you don't see immediate results. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. They want instant results, but they're not willing to put in the time required for compound growth. Every choice has a cost. When you choose one thing, you're choosing not to do something else. This is called opportunity cost, and it's one of the most important concepts in economics and life. When you choose to watch TV, you're choosing not to read a book. When you choose to sleep in, you're choosing not to exercise. When you choose to spend money, you're choosing not to invest it. When you choose to stay in your comfort zone, you're choosing not to grow. The opportunity cost of mediocrity is enormous. It's the cost of unfulfilled potential. It's the cost of dreams deferred. It's the cost of a life not fully lived. Most people don't think about opportunity cost. They make decisions based on what's easy, what's comfortable, what's convenient. They don't consider what they're giving up in exchange. But successful people think differently. They consider the opportunity cost of every decision. They ask themselves, if I do this, what am I not doing? If I choose this path, what path am I not choosing? If I spend my time here, where am I not spending it? They understand that time is their most valuable resource. They understand that every minute spent on something unimportant is a minute not spent on something important. They understand that the opportunity cost of mediocrity is greatness. In a world of infinite distractions, focus is a superpower. The ability to concentrate on what matters most, to ignore what doesn't matter, to persist on the path to your goals despite temptations and diversions, this is what separates successful people from everyone else. Warren Buffett's two-list strategy is a perfect example of the power of focus. He tells the story of asking his pilot to write down his top 25 goals. Then he asked him to circle the top 5. The pilot assumed he should focus on the top 5 and put the other 20 on the back burner. But Buffett said no. The 20 you didn't circle are your avoid at all costs list. No matter what, these things get no attention from you until you've succeeded with your top 5. This is counterintuitive for most people. They think they need to do everything, pursue every opportunity, keep all their options open. But this leads to scattered attention, diluted effort, and mediocre results. Success requires focus. It requires saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It requires sacrificing the many to excel at the few. Steve Jobs understood this principle. When he returned to Apple in 1997, the company was near bankruptcy and had dozens of products. One of his first acts was to cut the product line from dozens of products to just 4. This focus allowed Apple to pour all its resources into making those 4 products extraordinary. Focus isn't just about what you do. It's about what you don't do. It's about elimination as much as concentration. It's about cutting out the good to make room for the great. Success is as much psychological as it is practical. Your beliefs, your self-image, your mental patterns. These internal factors determine your external results more than any external circumstances. Psychologist Martin Seligman's research on learned helplessness shows how people can be conditioned to believe they're powerless, even when they're not. Many people live their entire lives in a state of learned helplessness, believing they can't change their circumstances, can't achieve their goals, can't create the life they want. But the opposite is also true. You can develop learned optimism. You can condition yourself to believe in your ability to succeed, to overcome obstacles, to achieve your goals. You can train your mind to see possibilities instead of problems, solutions instead of obstacles. Henry Ford said, "Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Your beliefs become your reality. If you believe you can succeed, you'll find ways to succeed. If you believe you can't succeed, you'll find reasons why you can't." This is why mindset work is so important. This is why you need to feed your mind with positive, empowering thoughts and ideas. This is why you need to surround yourself with people who believe in you and your dreams. Your mind is like a garden. You can choose to plant flowers or weeds. You can choose to nurture growth or allow decay. You can choose to cultivate success or accept failure. Newton's first law states that an object at rest stays at rest, and an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an external force. This principle applies to success as well. If you're not moving toward your goals, it's hard to start. But once you start moving, it gets easier to keep moving. Success creates momentum, and momentum creates more success. The hardest part is getting started, overcoming inertia and beginning to move. But once you build momentum, the process becomes easier. Small wins are crucial. They create momentum and prove you can succeed. Each small success makes the next success more likely. Jeff Bezos focused on creating a virtuous cycle where customer satisfaction led to more customers, more sellers, better selection and prices, which led to more customer satisfaction. The key is to start somewhere, anywhere. Take action, even if small. Build momentum, even if slow. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. Success isn't linear. It happens in seasons, periods of growth and plateau, harvest and sowing. Jim Rohn said, "Life is like seasons. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself." Therein lies the opportunity to live an extraordinary life. Sometimes you'll be planting, working hard, investing energy, but not seeing immediate results. This is normal. You can't skip planting and go straight to harvest. Sometimes you'll see growth and positive results. Sometimes you'll harvest rewards from previous efforts. Sometimes you'll face winter. Things will be difficult. Progress seems slow. This is when most people quit. But winter is necessary for future growth. During winter, roots grow deeper, strength builds, character develops. Understand which season you're in and respond appropriately. Don't expect harvest during planting. Don't give up during winter. Don't get lazy during growth. Don't forget to plant during harvest. Timothy Galway's The Inner Game of Tennis showed that the biggest obstacle to peak performance isn't external, it's internal. Your biggest enemy isn't competition. It's self-doubt, fear, and negative self-talk. This applies everywhere. The biggest obstacle to your success isn't the economy, your boss, or circumstances. It's your inner game, beliefs, fears, mental patterns. Most people work on the outer game, strategies, tactics, techniques. They ignore the inner game, mindset, psychology, emotional intelligence. The inner game determines the outer game. Your internal state determines external results. Your thoughts determine actions. To change results, change your thinking. To change circumstances, change your mindset. To change your life, change yourself. This is why personal development is the best investment you can make. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face." Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is feeling fear and acting anyway. Every successful person has overcome fear of failure, rejection, criticism, the unknown, even success itself. Many fear succeeding because they fear the responsibility and changes it brings. Courage is caring more about dreams than fears. Courage is caring more about your future than your past. Successful people aren't fearless. They're fearful but courageous. They feel fear but don't let it stop them. They use fear as fuel, motivation, a sign they're moving in the right direction. At life's end, what will you be remembered for? What will your legacy be? What impact will you make? These questions matter. These questions drive successful people to pursue excellence, create value, and make a difference.